What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. Duck here. Just trying to get the volume adjusted a bit here. Alright, let me know if the volume's okay on your guys' end real quick. And if so, we will get going. Sup, Vice? How's the volume, bruh? Yo, yo. We good? We good? All right, cool. All right, guys. So, excuse me. Bitcoin up per standard procedure. Looks like, you know, we talked about there being a chance that this could sell off, right? We didn't want to see it, but it obviously happened, right? And we even talked about if it did happen, you know, there's a possibility that we reject this first one and we end up testing the second range low here. We did even see that wick below, but immediately the follow through price action brought us back up to the level, retested the high, back to the low, opened again, and now we're going back at this little high here. So it's like a little small inverse head and shoulders here with a neckline, right? So we need to break out, back test the top of this range, small range, right? We're talking micro here, and then we can run right up to this next kind of square up that we left behind at 39.2. So let's see if we could get a little bit of that here over the next you know, little while. We we had the daily close, so once we closed, we got this nice engulfing candle. I believe that's what happened. I was a bit distracted here with some other things, but yeah, good past not past this current candle, right? We're only 50 minutes into this current 4-hour candle. So on the 4-hour, which we are now, we had a pretty good swing low pattern here. Hopefully this holds, right? You also basically put in a double bottom right here with some pretty identical lows. See that? So at this point, even though our stop is still down here, you know, here really soon, you're going to be able to use both of these lows, okay? You see this double bottom here? Let me make it a little more obvious. Okay, so you know, you can have a pretty tight invalidation right now. You don't want to lose 35.5. Okay, you don't want to see anywhere down there with that low again. And we do have to be careful because there is a square up down here at 34.4. So I don't know, we already squared up this one, but we have not squared up the 34.4. So again, if we could just hold these levels as support, right, we don't have to worry about that. So but if we fail again, right, if we can't muster any bids, which it looks like we're popping through right now, but if we fail here, okay, if we fail, we're going to end up right at that 34.4, okay, right here at this previous double bottom, tweezer double bottom, where the traders settled up at 34.444. That's right where you're going to fall, okay? So it's not that bad. I mean, depending on your leverage, of course, right? Even if you fall from the high right here all the way to 34.4, 7%, okay, is not the end of the world. But yeah, if you're times 50, you're dead, right? So it just depends on your perspective. But yes, just, you know, understand that there is a square up down there that has not been tested, okay? So, you know, just be aware of it. All right, remember last night we were watching this RSI and we had this trend line and we basically said we did not want to lose that, right? And when we lost that, that was it. That was the dump, right? So that was kind of our signal. So now what we also said, and we also lost that 50, right? but we got this follow through now, and we're back above that neutral zone, so that's good. That you have to start there, okay? You can't find yourself up here if you can't even get above the 50, right? So this is a good start. We just, if we back test that, whatever, but we don't want to back test it as resistance, okay? That's what we do not want to see. All right. So here was kind of our previous alert, but that's kind of since played out now. So at this point, we're more like this now, okay? Where maybe we're even building another channel within the channel here, okay? So something like this, right? So depending just how we're anchored here, um, maybe bring this down a bit. Something like this, right? I mean, we could cheat this in a bit, but anyways, this is kind of what you're looking at on this RSI. So, keeping above this 50 again, like we said, and then getting above this other 50 would also help. And ideally, we want to find ourselves up here in oversold territory. This is where we could create our divergence and begin to sell off, where we put in lower levels of relative strength, right? Lower level than the previous high on the relative strength, while price would be putting in a slightly higher high on price, right? Price would be diverging in the opposite direction as the RSI, and this is where we would sell off again, okay? So until then, we have some work to do, right? But so far, so good. Let's just, let's maintain this 50% level. Just start there, okay? Okay, let's get back out. MACD. MACD is showing bullish convergence. What does that mean? That means that the the negative momentum island on the histogram, and then you have this other level of negative momentum, okay? This put in, you basically had this initial low, if you want to call it that, and then a higher low, okay, on the negative momentum. So while you did that, price itself put in from here, right, this island up to this island, price itself put in a higher low. So that's bullish. This is bullish convergence with bullish convergence on the RSI as well. So 4-hour bullish convergence, that's perfectly fine. That's more of a class B than a class A would be, just straight bullish divergence. But this is bullish convergence, okay, with a C. So more of a class B type divergence, but either way, we're getting what we want, okay? Bottom, follow through price, piercing a neckline, all these are good signs. The next thing we have to do is the break. Hopefully, ideally, we back test and hold, and then we go and we rally to this high at 40, at 39. We go sideways here, and then we pump up, okay? First, we got to sweep these highs, and then we got to sweep this high, okay? The ultimate target to sweep is 42.5. Once we get 42.5, we got them all, okay? Swept them all. Then you're probably going to sell back off, okay? But then that next time you can go and get higher price, okay? It's going to be something like that. But you're aiming for these stops, okay? That's what you're after right now. We're stop hunting shorts that are still in shorts from up here or still in shorts from right here. Basically, depending on where they shorted, right, their position would look something like, whatever, right? It would look something like this, where they have a stop above the high and they're targeting, lower lows, right? 3-to-1, right? 3-to-1. So their target is like 27, okay? So instead of them, they started out pretty good here, but now they're giving it all back, and they were actually in the red for a while, and then, sold off. They're back in the green, but basically right at their entry, okay? So this would be going after this stop up here, all right? That's what we're trying to identify. Okay, so we found ourselves back in this chop, right? So good that we're back in there at least, right? Again, we have this nice Bulkowski double bottom. Um, what did we get on the fib from high to low? We got a 618 golden retrace. Okay, so yeah, ideally the shorts done did. Ideally, right? Anything can happen here, but coming in on the hourly. Coming in on the hourly. Not as discerning. I mean, your RSI again, it looks fine. You're pretty vertical, but it's good that you shot out of it to the upside. You know what I mean? That could have very easily been vertical like that and broken down again. You know, so that's good that you shot up and over the 50%. You know, all in one kind of one candle, basically, in one 4 hour candle. So just again, and this is a 1 hour candle, even better, right? So hold above this level. It's what we want to see here. Again, 1 hour not as critical, but either way, yeah. Let's see. We're just kind of looking at it like this. Again, we want to target these C and A highs, okay? So C and A highs, okay? So there's your next, you know, area of interest, okay? Your next overhead major area of interest. We would say it is right there at 40K, and I mean, makes sense, right? Psychological round number. So see if we can hold above. We got some work to do. Looks like we even have another resistance here approaching. Okay, so we need to start flipping this stuff into support. Okay, even if we end up falling all the way back down here one more time, I don't think we will. If anything, it'd be more to this square up level here. So if anything, you still start painting a higher low, right? That's kind of, you're not jeopardizing these lows at all, okay? So anything like this is really whatever, just chop. Just making people puke their position early before something actually happens. Again, we don't want to see these lows, the double bottom, the 35.5 area get lost, and then especially turned into resistance, right? That would be bad. So let's look for the parabolic action to the upside. All right, let's go back to the 4 hour, and let's go out to the, I don't know, see if we can see it on the 12 hour. Okay, so on the 12 hour, whoops, change cursors here. Okay, 12 hour, it's just easier to see the larger pattern. Okay, so let me even get rid of this 8 daily. Okay, so bearish bat. Okay, initially that's what we got going on. So you know, right now we got this low. Let's see, messing with me here. Undo. Okay. All right, we had this initial low, higher low, higher low. Okay, nothing's really detrimental at this point for us. Okay, so we're painting and approaching this local 40K area, right, that we just identified on the 4 hour. That's acting even more so like our just, you know, it's a square up from you know, from May 21st. So it's definitely regarding that. So yeah, this area here is what we want to flip. That's our next, like, our next boss. Okay, so we gotta get to this square up first. Okay, first objective, hit the square up, get above it, back test the top of this now as support. Okay. And then we got to beat the boss at 40K. We got to get above him and we got to back test him as support. That's how we win. Okay. If we can hold him as support and rally again, he's been defeated. All right. So that's our next mission. You know, we're like on level 3, level 4, right? Level 5, level 6, then the real boss, level 7, you know, something like that, right? Just think about it one step at a time, right? One step at a time. So if we were to use this kind of neckline here as a little bit of a measured move, we could see what that, you know, this would be real conservative here. I'm taking basically these wick or these closes. But to be more aggressive, you could take the wick all the way down, not the close, right? But let's just start with the close here and see what starts to coincide. Okay, that's what we like to look for, is some coinciding variables. So if we paint that measured move above the neckline and we also then take a fib from high to low, well, that puts us right in that golden retrace from the 382 to the 618. Those basically painted the exact same thing. You see what I'm talking about? They dang near overlapped each other. So there's your ideal target area, right? You get up into this golden zone and then you can back test this even as, you know, support twice. You could do it once on the initial spring and then again later, right? And this is where you would paint this head and shoulders and then send it and invalidate it, right? Completely nuke it when everyone thinks it's coming back down. You just nuke it. It does that shit. Okay, so golden zone between the 382 and the 618 would be, that would now put you up at 48, okay? Excuse me. And again, golden retrace zone, it's just our common retrace area. It's not necessarily the top, okay? What we'd really still be looking for is this deep retrace zone between the 786 and the 886. And up there, up top, right? That's where that harmonic of the bearish bat, right? We have a bat because our B was close to a 50% retrace, right? If it would have been more close to a 618 like this, whoops, like this, where you go up to the 618 here, all the way up to the 618, you see how much higher that would have had to be? Up to the 618, then this would have dropped from an 886 down to a 786 and been a Gartley, okay? But this was not a 618 retrace, okay? It was a 50% retrace. And because it was a 50, we're going for the 886. 886 is the bearish bat, okay? So that's our current local harmonic. Okay, so again, golden zone is just our next area of interest, but ideally, you know, somewhere we still run up higher, okay? It's not over. Once we get in the golden zone, it's not over. You get a golden retrace. Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Are we good? Are you guys with me? Seemed like we dropped off for just a quick split second. Are we good? Make sure I didn't lose you guys. That's weird. It doesn't say that we dropped frames, but I felt like we did. Okay, we're good. All right, cool. Thanks, Bart. All right, on we go. Okay, so again, we're looking for this 886, right? That's our main area, okay? And if we zoom out even further, you can see this volume profile indicator, okay? So this volume profile what we did here is we just took it from the high. Okay, I'll I'll do it again if you guys want, just so you can see where I anchored from. Okay, so I took it from this absolute swing high, right? The all-time high, 64,700, and I anchored it all the way to the A low, okay? The May 19th low at 30,360, okay? And it gives us this volume profile. Um, we'll go to 420. I just like more points on it, okay? Okay, so we have this volume profile indicator. I'll change the POC because we are not on a bearish. We are looking for a bullish one. So let's go green. Okay. Okay. All right. So you can see this green line here goes right through our box. Okay. That's what that green line is. That's sitting right in our box. Okay. So it's the volume profile point of control where you just have a massive amount of liquidity hanging out right there. So it's going to be a reactionary zone, okay? So ideally though, we also go to it, okay? So let's see, how price reacts here. You could see kind of these zones that we have already identified kind of align with some of these areas that we have to get through, right? Here's the 618 is this next kind of major area. Watch. So if I bring this up to like the 618, we're right before this, right? And you can see just these spikes, right? And then again, that third and final spike is where that, our last box is. We even have a larger one already there waiting for it. See that? That is what we are looking at on the volume profile. Again, it's not something that we, live by, die by any means. It's just something to note on a, more macro time frame, okay? So let's move on. But at least now you guys know where that green line is and why it's there, okay? All right, so stop again. You don't want to lose 35.5, 35,500. You do not want to lose that. Okay, so we need to get above 40K first, and then 40K, 50K, 55K. All right, so this is what we're ideally looking for. And again, we have like some dragon-esque structure happening here. You could debate where you want to anchor this from, right? What I'm looking at is these 2 points up top right there. So if we anchored from those, the breakout was way down the road, kind of just happened, right? If we get a little tighter with it and use the B anchor point, the breakout happened here, and then we kind of back tested it a little bit, which is good to see, So either way, dragon-esque structure, torso, abdomen areas, head, right? Where again we have like this head, dunk dunk dunk, right? So let's see what we can get this to muster. Okay, let's go back to 4 hour. Let's go to ETH. Russian Ethereum, same thing, right? Same type of structure, same type of target. 886, right? 886. Excuse me. So let's see if we can, get up there. We have a couple areas we need to take care of now. So again, we have this high, right? This high, and we're about to test it again. Okay, so if we can get in here, ideally we should have broken it here, but we didn't. It's okay. Maybe this is still part of all that same structure. Okay, so ideally you break this. You got to back test, 2,900. Okay, maybe you break through it, run up, hit 3,000, reject, come back down to 29, and then you end up, aiming for this upper resistance zone between 3250 and 3550. Okay, so that's your next major kind of areas of interest, right? 2,900 and then a square up at 33.50. Okay, if you can beat both of these bosses, your next target would be the 886 pattern reversal zone D, short target entry area 4000, 886, right? 4K on ETH, 4K. That would be an area that we would be looking at potentially shorting, okay? And riding back to one of these previous resistance areas, maybe even this other one, right? So, yeah, let's see what we can muster on ETH. Again, first things first, we got to get above 2,900, okay? You got to break 2,900 and then back test it and stay above it. If you do, you're good, okay? You're gold. You're going to be aiming for the highs, right? What you do not want to see, of course, is rejecting it and then falling back below, right? Reject and then reject, these support resistance areas, right? We don't want to reject them. We want to flip them into support. Okay. Litecoin. Oh no, sorry. This is ETH BTC. Okay. So I can erase that for you real quick, just so you can see what we're kind of looking at here. So we had this initial low, right, where you had these wicks fall on May 19th, kind of rallied up, more of a bear pull, bear flag, and then sold off again, put in the, current local low, May 23rd, right? Low, lower low, but then we rallied and were able to finally paint a higher low on May 30th. So we got this inverse head and shoulders-esque structure. Here's your neckline. We are now back above that neckline and regarding it as support, okay? Where we broke, back tested, and now we're up testing the high, and we're just testing that midpoint coming back down, just really running up on that high. The supply is drying up. We're going to break up through this, back test this, and go again, okay? So ideally on ETH, you'd be targeting, these C and A highs, and ideally you'd be trying to sweep them and beat them, right? So that is ETH currently, okay? So, or ETH to BTC. What you don't want to see here again is losing and rejecting these, right? Well, that means BTC might also be pumping, or it just means ETH is dumping faster than Bitcoin, one or the other, right? But either way, this is looking actually fairly good for ETH, right? Your trend is getting fairly parabolic here. So ideally, hopefully you can see ETH spring to the upside, right? Let's see what happens here on ETH. If you can break these highs, okay, if you can break these highs, you would turn into a butterfly here. And your first target of interest on the butterfly would be this 1272. Up at 0.086 sats, right? If you can beat this 1272, you can take this butterfly all the way to 1618, okay? Top side of the butterfly, it's a variable ranging harmonic target. There's a wide zone between the 1272 and the 1618 on a butterfly. We need the coinciding variables on the divs to tell us which is the stopping point, okay? So that's kind of your target zone for ETH BTC at the moment. If in the event you are able to sweep the highs, right? Sweep these previous highs. Okay, now we on to Litecoin. Okay, so Litecoin here. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so we had this initial low, right? This initial low, May 19th, and then we put in the lower low, May 23rd, and then we had the slightly higher low, May 30th. It also painted an inverse head and shoulders-esque pattern. We painted a neckline, we broke, and we're back testing it as support, and we were rallying. It was really nice. And then we hit this down-sloping trend line, okay? And once we hit that, it was like a brick wall, and we failed. Well, when we failed and we sold off, we simply came back down here and kind of just squared up this area down here, right? This previous low area, we just kind of went and squared that up, a little shy of a full square up on it, but good enough for the exchanges to, break even on most of their position, right? They still handled their business here, okay? So we have this new higher low, and now we're rallying, and we're back above this current larger, even this neckline from this local inverse head and shoulders, right? We're above that. So next step is getting above this higher area of that's been acting as resistance at 188. Okay, so which is much more minor, but it's still there. Okay, and you can see it even further going back, right? It's just been a problem area. But the good thing is when you keep attacking the same area, the supply really dries up. So when you get to it again, there's nothing left there. Okay, there's nothing left. So it's gonna break it, back test this downsloping trend line, right, as support now, and then ideally rally up to that 2.25 area that we've been eyeballing for the past, I don't know, like 2 freaking weeks, right? Excuse me. Let's see. We've been identifying that area since probably, yeah, about 2 weeks. Getting close, approaching 2 weeks. By the time it gets there, 2 weeks, easy. All right. So far so good on Litecoin. If we zoom out a bit here, again, like we have this major square up here, at 293. That's even a higher target, right? And if you fib from high to low, that 293 is right at that 300 618 area. Okay, see this 618 $300 area. So if we can get above this 2.25, we're going to target 300. Okay, and check that out, that's also your golden zone. Okay, so get me into the golden zone, and let's do some business in there. Okay. Excuse me, I'm dying over here. Okay. All right, moving along. AVAX. All right. AVAX. Measured move. Let's see. We had a measured move here. Let's erase that for now. Let's erase the harmonic for now. We'll get there when we get there. One step at a time, right? Okay. So at the moment, we had this low, lower low, slightly higher low, right shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, almost slanted inverse head and shoulders esque structure, right, where the neckline is more slanted than anything. Okay, so we need to break out of all of this, right? Really congested in here. We need to break out of all this, get back above it, and then ideally get above both of these highs, right? Back test that stuff as support, and then we have a square up area here at $24. That would probably be your next area of interest for sure. If we were to do from these candle closes up to this neckline area, that's probably going to put us right into that zone. Yeah, see? So ideally you're going to be aiming for this square up right here, $25, okay? AVAX is currently at $18.75. Target $25, 30%. FTM, you're holding this upsloping trend line here really well, okay, where we have this touch point low, another touch point, and now another touch point. Okay, so respecting that really nice. When it does that, it's almost starting to paint a parallel channel at the same time. Okay, so depending on where we're anchoring at the top or if we're anchoring like way at the top, right? What is our top anchor point? You see, by using this top one, it puts this other anchor point right at a really nice, 50% point on that channel. So that's not a bad thing per se either. Harmonic wise too, I mean, this is probably going to paint some kind of X, A, B, C, 886, right? Where you at? 886, right in this little zone, right? Right in this bullseye. 886, right? 886, give me it. Right there. Bam. Also kind of a square up area there as well. We already had identified. Okay, we had this identified area. That would be our zone. Okay. So between 65 cents and 70 cents on FTM. You don't want to lose this previous low of this inverse head and shoulders on this low time frame, right? So a target, a trade right now entering here, you'd have a stop just below this red line here, and you'd be targeting these highs. Okay, so if you target the high all the way to the high, that's 4-1. That allows your stop to be looser, 3-1. Okay, you're giving yourself permission to have a wider stop if you have a higher target. If you bring the target to a more conservative area, the bottom line, just the square up, then your stop can still be here, but it's 2.5-1. If you wanted to stay 3-1, you'd have to raise the stop back up just a wee bit, right? But ideally, having your stop below this A, right, being able to be this loose with it because you're just trading spot or 2x lev, right? This is really a good place. You'd have to go a little higher here, target back towards the top of that, but that's a 2-1 trade. A lot of people would really enjoy taking that swing trade right there. So why don't you join them? Okay. FTT, again, we had this long entry area down here. We went into our zone, we got our entry, rallied, back tested it, painted a higher low, continuing to rally, back tested again, previous kind of discernible neckline here, holding it as support and rallying again. So this is exactly what we wanted to see. Measured move target area has us up here in this $45 range. Okay, so as long as we can hold this, get back above this level, we should see some action up here. Okay, so FTT, just from where we are, that's 30% move. Okay, so if you were just targeting just the small trade on that, right, just going up to there, you can have a stop 3-1. So your stop would basically be these two local lows, right? If I zoom in on this, sorry. Okay, so you can see here, if I zoom in, you don't want to lose these local lows that you just basically put in. Okay, so you have one there and one here. It's like a little double bottom action. Okay, so ideally you'd probably have your stop just like this, and you raise this up here. Okay, so yeah, 3.25 to 1, just targeting that measured move of $45 on FTT. And that's not even really it per se. That's more probably just a golden retrace, right? So if we were to fib this from high to low, that's basically exactly a golden retrace between the 382 and the 618. Okay, so you can see your overlapping target area right here. Okay, you have two things happening right there. Okay, $45. Again, doesn't mean it's the top. You can still go higher. There's still a square up here at $50. Okay, but there's a higher probability of you getting here than there is up here. Okay, so we just take our trade in terms of probability with as close to 3-1 risk reward as possible. We hit our 3 to 1. You either trail a tight stop or you lock that in, and you just move on. Okay, move on with your day. I mean, that's what I do for the most part. Occasionally, we try and let a little bit run, but a lot of times it's just more managing and more time spent having to watch the chart, right? So sometimes I just like to get mine and be done with it, and whatever happens is just a cool story for someone to tell me about later. Oh, bro, after you fell asleep, that shit pumped 10 more bucks. Good, bro. I'm glad you caught that. But I was good with my 32% gain. I didn't need, this to go up another 10 bucks and end up at 55 for 50%, right? I was good with my 32. 54 is sick, right? Cool story. That's sick. I'm happy for you. But I'm also just fine and content with my 32, okay? So just live within your means, stick to your plan, lock in those gains, right? You just keep compounding those gains, and everything else is just noise, okay? Things are always going to go higher than you think. Things are always going to go lower than you think, okay? You can't try and win that battle. Don't bother. SNX. Okay, we held we held this low, painted this initial little baby low here, and even I can't grab that, it's so small. Nope, not possible. Impossible to grab. Okay, so low, higher low, higher low, higher low, support, resistance area, back above it. Okay, so next is just get above this next one. Okay, get above this next one step at a time. Okay, let's get above here. Let's hold this. Let's see if we can rally. That's all we can do. Stop was down here at 10. You could keep it at 10 because you're still pretty tight to this, but ideally you're going to be able to probably bring it up here to 11. Okay, $1 at a time. Just keep chasing this. Eventually you'll be up here at 11.50. See if this gets up here and rallies. You could then bring it up here to 13.50. Just one step at a time. But right now it's been at 10 bucks. The low was at 11.70. Okay, so SNX. If you're to fib this from the high to low, you'll see that we're just targeting this golden retrace area here between the 382 and the 618. Okay, ideally our deeper retrace is up here, 886, 786 area, but again, one zone at a time. Let's first find ourselves into the golden zone. Let's also see if we can back test this area as support. Okay, we need that coveted SR flip. Okay, SNX. XLM, targeting this golden zone. Same thing, right? Targeting the golden zone right here, XLM. How do we get that golden zone? We took this discernible swing high down to the swing low. I don't know if you guys could see that good enough. There you go. From the swing high up here down to the swing low on May 23rd, and you can see this golden retrace zone between the 382 and the 618. Okay, so that is our next area for stellar lumens. We need to get above this area, okay, at basically like 42 cents. Okay, we need to get above 42 cents, and then we can find ourselves up into this area here. Okay, ideally targeting 55 cents, even as high as 60 cents. Okay, on the top of that golden zone, 618, 60 cents. There's also square up there at 65 cents. Okay, that 65 cent square up might also get tagged. There's your divergence. Okay, then you sell off, test previous support, previous resistance as support somewhere, right? But anyways, yeah, XLM, pretty much similar story across the board, right? You just need to flip these these current levels that were previously resistance, right, and are still resistance, you got to flip them into support per usual. Inch, 1 inch coin, inchy. Okay, inch. Okay, again, we're painting this really nice upsloping trend line. Okay, depending on our anchor point, again, we could pull this anchor point out, right, and use this as that midpoint. And again, we'd be targeting that midpoint there, so that could work. Or we use it tight and we target the high. Either way, we're looking for $5. Okay, from high to low, that's a 50% retrace right at $5. That's also smack dab in the middle of the golden zone. Okay, so that's our target on inch. Again, you don't want to see yourself, lose this like upsloping area. Okay, you don't want to fall back below this. Okay, so don't start losing these levels again, right? It's not what we want to see. We want to see this get above this heart line and hold that and rally to the high. Okay. Excuse me. AAVE, Pride Month coin. I'm not sure how AVE became the official coin of Pride Month. Or is it something like that? I don't even know. Thought it was February. I don't know. Is it fucking February? It's like June. It's every month. Pride Month now. Anyways. The Pride coin, AAVE, held the purple line. Okay? Purple power. Where we had the initial touch point, second touch point, third touch point. Okay? Purple power holding strong. Next is the yellow power. Okay? So let's get above this local next little area of resistance. Okay? Let's see if we can flip that, and then we can get up here into the measured move target. Okay, for start, measured move. For second, it's probably a golden zone, fibbing from high to low. Okay, we're going to look at that 382 to that 618, and yes, indeed, it would be in the golden zone. Okay, so that's our area of interest for AAVE is 475 to 500. Okay, 475 to 500 area on AAVE to USDT. Algo, again, holding nice above. That's all you did last night. You had broken out, you back tested, right? Break, hook, and now the go. Okay, this is exactly the kind of price action you would have wanted to see. Okay, so don't be afraid of something you were looking for. Fib from high to low, golden retrace, 382 to the 618. Okay, that's our next area we would like to find ourselves involved in. Okay, and ideally you go all the way through it and you wick out and you square that area up. Okay, at $1.36 on Algo. So let's go back to Bitty coins. Bitcoin. Okay. Clean up some of this real quick. Okay, Bitcoin. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about some indicators. Why? Okay. So looking at this, all right, this is a script you guys saved into your favorites. What it's identifying here are divergences. Okay, so anytime there's a divergence on a certain set of indicators, right? And it'll tell us the indicators that it looks for divergences on here in a second. But whenever there's divergence, okay, and it's basically showing you the anchor points, okay? So for example, from this anchor point swing low to this lower swing low, there was 8 different indicators, right? 8 different indicators marked a bullish divergence right there. You got a small rally, but then you sold off further, okay? So that being said is why we can't just blindly trust this, okay? Just because we see an 8 here doesn't mean we long to Valhalla. It means we can try it, but and we have a stop below that point, and we would have got stopped here. But and that's fairly tight in validation. So if you always do that, you're probably gonna win a lot of them, to be honest. But again, make sure there's a lot of divergences, right? You don't just want to see 2 of them. Small reaction, but again, not strong enough by itself, okay? And also, you have it where it'll paint it several times, okay? So, for example, up here, you painted the 6 bearish divergences, you sold off. But then you rallied again, painted 5 more of them, and then you sold off officially, kind of, right? But again, this 6 wasn't the top, right? It was, but it wasn't, right? You still got swept. If your stop was like $2 above, I mean, you got swept. But for the most part, it's pretty reliable. And again, we're not trying to use it by itself. You got to remember our you got to go back to the trade strategy, okay? So if we're talking about our trading strategy, okay, we are talking about, whoops, did we get it in the screen there? Dang it, I'm moving everything. Okay, sorry, trying to get this in here. Everything's fighting. Okay. So here is our trading strategy. This bastard. All right, get into the screen there. Okay. So we're looking for our 3 to 1, right? That's what we always keep marking up when we're talking about, you know, our risk to reward, right? 3 to 1. Our position sizing, that's where we take our long and our short tool, and we, you know, we make sure that that's the kind of position that we are in, okay? We want to see a good 3 to 1 risk to reward on our trade strategy, okay? I'm trying to get this more into the middle for you. Okay. Okay, so anyways, 3 to 1, we set our stop loss based on the risk to reward tool and our exit, right? But our exit is also based on, you know, certain fib levels, certain measured moves, whatever our pattern is, right? So we obviously have a pattern, some sort of pattern in development. It's not always harmonics. Harmonics are just a pattern type, okay? Just like, you know, Ford Mustang is a car, right? There's many types of cars. Harmonics are just part of many types of patterns. They're a very significant pattern because it takes 5 touch points, right? It takes 5 touch points. So that's why we like them, because they're hard to create. Okay, then next we look for divergences on multiple time frames, right, of significance. 3 to 1 means this. 3 to 1 is our risk to reward tool. Okay, when we take this tool and we're looking right here, okay, 3 to 1. So in order to have 3 to 1, my position would have had to look like this, where my entry is at the white line, my stop is this far below if my target is this far above. Okay, 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. That works on the short side as well. Okay, so 3 to 1. Okay, you're just looking, you're using the tool to give you a 3 to 1 risk to reward on your trade. That makes it equitable for you to enter the position. If it's not equitable, you shouldn't be entering it. If your target's not far enough away to give you 3 to 1, It's not a trade, okay? It's not a trade, it's chop. Okay, so that identified those two based on the stop on the risk to reward tool, okay? The long short tool. Pattern development is our harmonic. Sometimes it's our double bottom. Sometimes it's our right three rising valleys. You know, it could be our Adam and Eve. It could be our cup and handle. It could be our whatever, inverse head and shoulders. There's so many patterns, okay? They're in the book that's in the Google Drive by Bulkowski, right? Trading pattern, encyclopedia of a trading pattern, okay? So that is um, that is how we get the patterns. Then the divergences on multiple time frames means like on the daily, on the 6 hour, on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour, you have divergence all in the same direction though, not divergence opposite of each other, opposing. You want them all aligning in harmony, okay? Then after that, you're looking for it on multiple oscillators, okay? Well, right here, multiple oscillators, that's this, okay? This is multiple oscillators diverging. Multiple oscillators are diverging, okay? That's what those numbers are. It's multiple oscillators, okay? So when we go into them, you can see on the inputs all the different type of oscillators that are being factored in: MACD histogram, RSI, stochastic, CCI, momentum, OBV. All these, a lot of them I don't even use, but it's good when they align with the ones we do use. Does that make sense? Just because we never look at them on an individual level, we only look at two of them. Does that make sense? We only look at two of them, right? MACD and RSI. So technically we could do this, right? And it would just identify the ones that we look at alone. But by putting the rest of them, it just gives us more oscillators on more time frames, right? Divergence on multiple oscillators, not just two, MACD and RSI, but multiple. So we have as many now as 10, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different oscillators. So if one of these numbers here is ringing out an 11, that's like a red alert. Everything's diverging, right? Everything is diverging. Okay? That's what it'd be trying to tell you. Okay? What I'm trying to say is, now you need to do something here if you're playing with this, okay? The red right now is showing bearish divergence. Okay? So like right here, okay? It was identifying bearish divergence right there. You see it? Boom. Okay, from high on oscillator, lower on the oscillator, you had a high on price with a slightly higher high. Bearish divergence on the MACD. Bearish divergence on the MACD. One of these would have said MACD. So show indicator names. Okay, I don't like it. It's too cluttery. But if we look, MACD. MACD. There's your MACD divergence on the 4 hour on that time frame, right? So looking back at that, also see the thickness of the line, how thick it is. See how this one's thin and this one is thick, like Maine's neck, right? That just means there's more of them, okay? All right, so red ones are saying bearish divergence, green ones right here are saying bullish divergence, okay? So if we look at the, MACD here and the RSI, you can see the bullish divergence that occurred here, okay? So it was on the MACD and the RSI. So right here on this number 9, we're going to find MACD and RSI. Whoops. MACD and RSI, see? So it's just a way of cleaning up something for you that you can already do yourself manually, okay? It's just a good, quick thing. And you could just come up here and hide it, okay? Just hide that little eyeball, bring it back occasionally, right? You don't have to be all cluttered up, just reference it here and there, right? Okay. So coming back to it, let's click on it again. what we're looking at here, again, in red, bearish divergence, in green, bullish divergence. Okay, well, now let's look for the hidden divergence. So if we click on hidden, it's going to take the bearish and the bullish out. Now this is hidden divergence. So this is saying hidden bearish divergence, and you sold off. Hidden bearish divergence, you sold off, right? So right now it's saying hidden bullish divergence from here to here, and we're rallying. Okay, do you see that? So depending on what you're looking for, you have to toggle. And again, you're gonna know this based on your trend. Okay, so if my trend, if my price action, my trend is trending down, right? If this is going down, I'm not looking for bearish divergence. I'm looking for the bullish divergence or the hidden bullish divergence. So you know what you're looking for. Okay, as you're going to be trending up into your target area and approaching this, you're going to be looking for bearish divergence. You're not going to be looking for bullish divergence at your target. Okay, that would be saying add to it, and that's not typically going to be the case. By the time you get from your entry up to your target, you're exhausted. The divergence is going to be bearish. It's not going to be bullish at the target. And if it is, Jesus, you know, send it again, right? Send it, send it, send it, send it. I mean, that's what you would do if you find bullish divergence at your target. You know, it's just not going to be like that. Okay. So, I mean, play with it. Again, it's not it's not everything, okay? But when it aligns, you know, with a harmonic or a pattern, that's when you start to take note, okay? Does that make sense, guys? So hopefully that gives you a little something to mess around with in addition to your harmonic studying, in addition to your divergence studying. Again, guys, you have this trade strategy in the Discord. You also have your cheat sheets in the Discord. In your cheat sheets, you have your divergence cheat sheets, okay? Reference them, okay? So bearish divergence, right? You have a higher high on price, lower low on the oscillator, okay? Price is the black line, oscillators are the yellow, okay? Bullish divergence would be price would be putting in a lower low, higher levels of negative momentum or relative strength. Again, you can see it here as well, okay? Bullish divergence, bearish divergence, okay? There's a bunch of cheat sheets for you in the chat, as well as your patterns, okay? So here's your patterns. So you want to find your Bulkowski pattern happening with your divergence coinciding at a critical fib level, at a critical horizontal line support resistance looking left on a significant time frame, okay? So you put all these things together and you paint your picture, and that's when you have conviction now to take a trade. Okay? At the moment, we're breaking through this upper support, and we are now next looking for this square up. Okay? So I'll see you guys at 39,264 here in about 4 hours. Okay? And then, yeah, you might come back here. Maybe you do it right away, okay? Either way, you probably got to regard this as support at some point. But yeah, I mean, next area is this square up right here, okay? So cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that stream. Gives you a little homework, and right now we're still in our longs, okay? So ETH is looking good past 4 hours. This whole stream. Litecoin approaching, ETH to BTC approaching that top of that zone. Again, watch for this breakout, right? Watch for this to break, which means ETH is going to be sending it on the USDT pair too, right? Right here, which it already kind of is. Litecoin sending, need to break out above these levels, but, you know, looking good. So, oh, this is Litecoin, which is sending right now. Nice. You're at 184, approaching that high at 188. Okay, cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I will catch you back in the Discord, and yeah, Duck is out.